Welcome, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and this month's Craft IQ was kind of a stretch and also really fun. I like the layout, but we needed to paper piece a third of the background, add a circle, 3 colors of border punch or fancy up an edge, ribbon or twine, add something that sparkles, and then stars. So I kind of was thinking about it. I was looking at my photos, found these of my parents from a Christmas a long time ago. This was early days of marriage. And we were at their house, and they're not the greatest of photos, so I didn't want to have bright, rich Christmas colors, but this Wonderland paper from close to my heart with its softer tones really helped the photos shine. And even just looking at it here, I can tell that it's going to work. So I brought in this orange piece because I tested my border punch, because we needed to do a border punch or fancy up an edge, and I just needed to test it out to see if I could make it work. And I did. So now I'm just kind of looking at what layers I want to do. I think I want to just slip that white edge, fancy edge, under the pattern paper and then on top of the wisteria. And I had tried some other colors and it just didn't work. And I decided now that I'm going to use this pattern paper for underneath the Christmas tree. And this is my paper piecing. It might not be a full third of the layout, but I'm doing paper piecing, so I'm going to count that as good. If you don't count that as good, you can make a comment and we can address that. But it's paper piecing. It's also the week before Christmas, so we're good. So I used the Cricut to cut the tree and the background, and then I have this glitter paper that I did for the star. So that's something that sparkles, and it's a star. So I figured 2 checks there. And here I'm just gluing on the rest of the balls. I don't know if you noticed when I had that blue paper in, I was trying to use the sapphire for a background because my dad is in a blue shirt, but it really didn't work. So that's why I have the black cardstock that I'm bringing into this series, and I'm so glad I got rid of that orange cardstock that was really bothering me. So I'm going to cut some photo mats. I cut all these photos down, so I think they're 3 by 3. So these are going to be 3 1/8 squares, because I just want a sliver of a mat on these. I need it to kind of anchor the photo without overwhelming it, because like I said, they're such poor quality that I really need to do everything that I can to bring out the brightness in the photos. So here I'm just adding my tape runner and going to put all the photos on the same black mat. And part of the reason for not using multiple colored mats is when you have a poor quality or you're trying to really focus on something, the less distractions you have for the eye, the more it focuses. So that's exactly what I needed to do here with these photos. So now they're all on mats, and I'm going to pull out, this is a 4 by 12 just strip that I'm making into an accordion fold. It's kind of an extra flip out of my photos. So it's just a fan fold one side one way and one side the other way, front and back. And here I'm going to add the photos of my dad opening this leaf blower. And I talk about it when I bring the journaling out about how this leaf blower was a really cool gift. And these are snowflakes that I had cut for a previous project, and I thought that they would be cool because they're the right colors, and it was just done. And like I said, it's the week before Christmas, so I'm taking some of these Vellum Snowflakes, and I cut all of these on Cricut, and I'm just tacking down the ends of the vellum under where I know the photo mat is going to be. And I'm going ahead and cutting these apart because sometimes you can use a partial snowflake since I'm just using them in the background. So I will put all of these together, but because the final layout doesn't actually use that, I kind of cut away from it. And here I'm going to show you that I'm just taking that 12 by 12 white, and I've punched all the way around it with my border punch. And then as I'm looking at it, the squares that are in the corner I'm really not feeling, so I'm just going to go ahead and fussy cut those off. And regardless like where the pattern ended, I can just kind of match the shape, and you'll see here that some of it's rounded, some of it I need to cut in. There was a piece that was just holding on by just the lightest bit of connection, so I cut that off. And now I'm measuring to find out what my inner piece needs to be of this Wonderland rosemary with the leaves and snowflakes kind of background. And it ends up being 10 3/4. And I wanted to I always like to dry fit things to make sure that it's fitting correctly. And I have to say, I'm really enjoying how this layout is all coming together. The colors just work. You can see that border. It made it worthwhile. I'm so pragmatic. It's hard for me to put so much effort into something and then just have it be covered over. So I was really excited that this border is going to shine, and it doesn't necessarily compete with the Christmas tree, but because it looks like they're holiday lights, I think it just all works together. And then I realized after I put some snowflakes on the main layout that that's not where we're going to need to go. And so I'm trying to figure out what to do next. So in the meantime, it's like, all right, just let's glue your base pages down. So I make a frame out of the wisteria, and then I glue the white right on top of that. And then here I will put the rosemary pattern paper from Wonderland on that. And it's funny, these hats that are on the back side with the mulberry background are so cute, and it was hard for me to just stick it down, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I really like how this layout came together. So now it's time to put the Christmas tree down, so we're gonna add some adhesive to that. And I don't know if you've noticed that sometimes I use liquid glue and sometimes I use tape runner. I try to use tape runner on photos and then liquid glue paper to paper, but sometimes, like I did with that tree, I used tape runner just because I might want to move it later. And here's where I've made the final decision. The snowflakes are not the way to go with this layout. And I think I need to do presents, and I'm trying to figure that out. And then I read the prompts for the Craft IQ, and it says to use ribbon or twine. So then I'm like, okay, ribbon on packages, that's the direction I'm going to go in. So it's like, all right, now I can glue these photos down. I know where I'm going with this layout. I haven't figured out if I'm going to do the packages out of multiple colors or just one color or what they're going to be. But for the circle element, I thought I would make 2 circles as kind of a pull tab for my photo accordion here. And so that way I'm going to put my journaling on the inside, but you have something to hold on to open it. And here I've decided, all right, I'm going to just cut some shapes and rectangles and squares and see what I can get as far as packages go. And I'm not even sure what sizes I need, but I'm just using the scraps from the wisteria cardstock. And I'm just going to play with it and see how they look on the layout. And as you watch me do this, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'll just say that you'll see the word subscribe in red, and you can click on that and then you won't miss any content. I typically do scrapbook layouts. Double pages are what I prefer to do. Single pages happen too, just because sometimes the photos work well for that. But those are on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then on Fridays is kind of a free-for-all. I've done Fun Fold Fridays for a whole while this fall. And then in November, I did Craft Show Idea Fridays. And last week was a card random stamp workshop Friday. So I haven't landed on what I'm going to be on Fridays, but it'll be something. So here I now have these wisteria, and I love close to my heart that they have the 2 tones of cardstock. So if you see in the bottom left corner the 2 different colors of purple, it's because it's the front and the back sides of the cardstock. So I really just like how that works out. And then I'm tying this thread around my packages, and then they needed bows on the top. So I'm showing you here that I just make 2 bunny ears, and then you tie those through each other in the bunny ears. And because it's such a thin thread, I went ahead and used about 13 inches, 12 inches to tie it. I know it's a waste, but at the same time, I don't want to be frustrated trying to tie these bows, and I really wanted the bows on top of the packages. It's just that delicate, but it's scaled, I think, to the size of the squares. It's all, it's all being, artistic license, right? So that's how I did those bows, and then I'm going to glue them on. So I'm going to tack the packages down, and then I'm going to glue them on with the Tombow green lidded mono glue here. And the reason why I'm using this glue is because it dries a little tacky, and with the gold thread, it'll just help it adhere longer. So I glued all those down, and then I decided to add this moon dust shimmer paste. And if you saw in the beginning there, I was really hesitant to start because I wasn't sure where it was going to go. But there's stars actually in this moon dust, so it ends up that I add more stars, which goes to one of the prompts. And I really like how this turned out. And because I took those snowflakes off, I have a little bit of adhesive damage that I need to cover up. So I just fished out of my trash the punch outs that came from doing the border, and I'm just going to glue those on. But the pictures here, as I told you I would tell you about, are my parents absolutely love Christmas. Everything about it, the buying of the gifts, the wrapping of the gifts. My dad would like grab a baby food jar and put broken glass into it so that if you shook a gift, it sounded like you broke the gift. He just really liked that. And this particular year, we got him this leaf blower. So here's a close-up of the layout. You can see my dad smile, how happy he is with this leaf blower. He liked power tools. My dad was great. So I hope you have a great day. Here's another video you may be interested in. Be sure to check out all of those that are doing the Craft IQ. Their links are in my description, and have a blessed day.